Hello and welcome to Martyn Lucas Investor. My name is Sensei and you're watching the morning forecast show here on Monday, the 26th of January. Every single day, 2 hours before the opening bell, every trading day that is. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you can all please hit that like button and subscribe. And let's get straight into today's important show. We have got an XRP warning. The chart is signaling a 50% correction. We'll come onto the chart later on in the show, but it is not, genuinely speaking, it's not looking great for XRP. If you're just looking at it from the chart, we do have some great XRP news stories we published on our XRP Weekly, but then we also had to caveat it with the fact that the weekly charts or the general trend of XRP is not looking great. Does that mean go out and sell, go out and panic? It's going to go lower, you can buy more at lower prices? Well, I don't suggest any of that. I don't like any sort of emotional trading. I'm very bullish on XRP long term. So whatever the content of this video is, my analysis stays the same. So I'm bullish on XRP. I think the XRP army is very strong, so that provides the sentiment. I believe Ripple, the company that uses XRP, is going to continue to get bigger with all their regulatory licenses they're getting and all the bullish things that are there for Ripple. I think XRP's technology is the best in the game, or is being adopted the most as well, which is important. So all of that side is great. However, you have to understand the price doesn't always equal the value. And right now the price isn't performing very great, and the chart which we look at is also signaling a breakdown. What does that mean? What am I doing? Well, essentially, I'm going to give you my whole playbook. It's in the newsletter. It's free. XRP Weekly newsletter, the only XRP Weekly newsletter. It's completely free. So go in the description, or if you're watching live, just sign up to the newsletter. You get that XRP Weekly. Plus, if you do want to become a premium member for the next 3 days, you get 60% off. You get all my trades. Again, it's not financial advice, but you get all what I'm looking at, the charts I'm looking at, the $5,000 challenge, the technical chart course, all of that will be included. And for the next 3 days, we'll never do a sale like this again. It's 60% off. So what I'm doing is I'm using my playbook to understand where to buy, my strategy, not over leveraging, trading when I need to make some more money to buy XRP lower. But we'll get into all of that in today's show.
2009 has become a member.
No, welcome to the show. Welcome to becoming a member. So let's get into all the news stories. There's the Japan story, which we've been covering for months, which we've been warning you about, which we've been positioning ourselves for, is unfolding in front of our eyes. The US is getting involved in the carry trade now. So let's get into all the top stories. If you have just tuned in, if you can hit that like button, that will be amazing. So let's just look at today's top stories. Again, we go to our morning forecast newsletter that accompanies our shows. Again, it's our show notes. You can get them in the first link in the description. Shutdown is now a big issue. The shutdown odds are spiking. The great dollar reset. Gold going above 5,000. And you know what I'm going to do? Just because I don't want anyone to miss out on this story, I'm going to create a video about all of this. So if you're watching live, that's brilliant. You get to watch the video before it takes hours to process and upload on YouTube. So you've got the front row seat to a video that's going to be created. So let me just get all of that ready. That's the Japan story. That's the XRP chart. This is the government shutdown. We need to touch on silver because silver's a bit crazy right now. So let me make this into a video. If you're watching live, stay with me. You get to watch it before it goes out in a live premiere. So you get the information first. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We are looking at XRP, a potential 50% crash signal showing up on the weekly charts. We're going to look into that, but we're pairing that with the Japan carry trade, which we've been talking about for months now. We've been following it, getting ready to position ourselves for the great unwind, as some people like to call it. We're going to discuss this. Does that mean XRP is going to save the day? I don't think so, but we'll look into it. I'm still super bullish on XRP. I'm with the XRP army. I love the XRP army. That's one of the reasons I actually invest in XRP, is because the sentiment's great around it. I love what XRP is doing. Well, 3.0 upgrade as well, which we're going to touch on, which is great fundamentally and utility speaking. If we look at the utility side of XRP. So we've got all of these great updates with XRP. However, the chart is signaling downside. We can't ignore the trend. And the trend, unfortunately, as we said about 4 months ago when we double topped on $3.40, $3.60, where I sold 20% of my long-term position, and then a month later I called for a bear market, it does seem like that is, we've corrected about 50% since. I have done some trading throughout that. We've caught some gains. I'm going to talk about that, how you can generate money within a downtrend. But essentially, my long-term conviction's there. I'm still holding my XRP. I'm going to buy more as we go down. I'll give you the full playbook. Right now, we're running a 60% sell on the newsletter. First link in the description. It's the first 5 people every day until Wednesday, FOMC day, and then it finishes, and we'll never do anything like that again. We're doing it to because of the launch of the 3 new products, the Portfolio Challenge kicking off on Thursday, the chart trading course, and the debt planner and budget planner all in the next couple of weeks. So you can grab it for 60% off. You can get all the daily newsletters, first link in the description. So let's get into all those stories right now. Today's top stories are shutdown odds are spiking. If you're looking over here, we have now got a massive increase, 80% chance over the weekend from a 9% chance shot up to an 80% chance. I mean, that's incredible. Sudden move up on the shutdown odds. So by the 31st of January, we're talking in the next 5 days, we're going to get a shutdown. There's now an 80% chance of that, and you can't go against the odds. So it looks like a shutdown is on the way. Of course, that's going to bring in volatility. We've got silver, just absolutely incredible run for silver. Remember, we caught this at $15, $20, $25, $30. We caught the whole silver run, the whole gold run. How do we do it? Well, we used my playbook, which I'm releasing to all premium members of the newsletter. You can get it for 60% off. So silver is looking like it's going to hit $120 this month. It's already opened up yesterday. And now it's already up 6% today, blasting through all our targets. Our main target was $100. Our final target's 112 and 120. So this is unprecedented run from silver. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. This is the second largest asset in the world. Nvidia it blows it out the water. It's right under gold. Gold and silver are now the highest. Gold was always the highest market cap asset. Silver used to be below Bitcoin. XRP once upon a time had a higher market cap than silver, but silver has exploded and now it's the second highest market cap. So you can't ignore that. Of course, there's a lot of volatility in the world right now, and you can tell because central banks are buying gold. Look at gold up above 5,000, silver going crazy, short squeeze, shortages. People aren't trusting the system anymore. They're not trusting the paper money. They want the physical silver in their hands. And you can see this is a whole new sort of world order we're seeing right now. This is something to be concerned about. Not only be concerned about, but understand that because this is unprecedented, something's going on behind the scenes. And we were positioned for it. So gold, silver, incredible runs at the moment. We're looking at the XRP chart. Why? Well, because last night we had a weekly candle close, the lowest weekly candle close since November of 2024. You can see over here, let me highlight it for you. This candle close over here, you can see the body of the candle closed way, the last time it closed that low was over here. So you can see this level of support. Oh, that's a terrible circle. I can't even circle it. I apologize. But this line you see over here at 185, we closed below it. That is the lowest weekly candle close. And we are now starting to close the candles below support. So what does that mean? Well, it means the trend is continuing. You can see the trend very clearly. Let me remove, you can see the trend very clearly. Down, down, down. Lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. And what you've got going on as well as lower highs is also lower lows. So you can see this is a weekly candle. We're going all the way back down to July of 2025. You can see we're just trending towards the downside. You cannot try and fight the trend. You cannot ignore the trend. Yes, you can make money throughout this. How did we make money? Well, remember when there was that 10th of October, well, yeah, over here, when we had that liquidation scare, we went all the way down to 140, went back all the way to $2.50. That was a quick 1 day 50%, 40% return. Made enough money to buy back here at my levels. What are my levels? Well, all my levels are in the newsletter. If you want to know my next levels, we're looking at 184, which has been hit. I don't like to just sell my XRP. I'm a long-term holder. Who knows where the bottom is? Who knows when the trend will end? Yes, we'll have our own indications, and yes, we'll keep looking at the chart to see where the positions are. But for my long-term spot portfolio, the one I'm holding long-term, the one that's going to hopefully explode and go to $5, $10, $15, $20 in the long term, that portfolio, I don't care if if it goes down to 171 because I bought at 184. So what my strategy essentially is for that long-term portfolio is buy at specific levels. Those levels are determined by charts. Maybe they're not magic levels, but at least they tell me where to keep my emotions in check and tell me exactly where to buy and add to my long-term position. So my next level, I bought at 184 last night. That's already in profit. Am I going to trade it? Probably not. If we go up to $2.30, maybe I'll trade some of it out. But yeah, that's already up 3% overnight. The next level is 171. The next level is 158. But if we're looking at that weekly candle, and if you look at some people that just look at charts, there is a concerning 50% correction scenario. If you look at all these levels of support, they're around 190. If we start breaking 180, 190, the next major level of support, you have to start looking at the liquidity, which will start suggesting maybe it's 130, maybe it's 85 cents. So what we're looking at is the next major levels of support being down another 28% or even down another 57%. So there's not much. If you're looking at this chart and you're zooming out and you look at this level of support, this is the level of support. This is the high of 2021. It's the support throughout this whole bull market at 189. You can see that there's not much at all in this section over here of the chart. There's no liquidity at all until maybe the first line is about 137 and the final one is about 77 cents. I'm not saying we're going to go down to 77 cents. I'm saying I'm going to buy on the way down. I don't know where it's going to bottom. It can go down 50%. It can go down 57%. That's the main story here. If you think your XRP is safe, and if you're in a 2x leverage position or a 4x leverage position, and XRP is not going to drop another 20%, you're wrong. We don't know. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. You don't have a crystal ball. All you can do is plan for these scenarios that are possible, that are very possible. So what's my plan? I buy on the way down. I increase my spot bag, and one day I think XRP is going to go to $5, $10, so I don't mind buying on the way down. I'm not going to buy every 5% dip. I'm not going to DCA because that's not the way I invest, and I don't think that's the best way of investing if you're keeping up the markets. I'll buy at specific levels. All those levels are within the newsletter. If you're a premium member, just send me a message. I'll send you all those levels I'm buying. But essentially, I'm prepared for a 57% correction, and I'll be buying throughout those levels. Now, does that mean we are going to have a crash and I'm 100% confident of a 50% crash? Well, if I knew there was going to be a crash, I would sell my whole portfolio and I would buy back lower. But no one in the world can predict something like that. So I'm bullish enough on XRP that even at these levels at $2, the risk to reward for me is still great because I think XRP is going to go to $10 in the next few years. So $2 to $10 is still great return. So I don't mind buying at these levels. My average on XRP is 30. Started buying at 30 cents. My average is probably around 50 cents on XRP. So I'm still in a good position. So I bought last night at 184. Because the risk reward is still great to $10. However, I am leaving money on the side to buy on the correction down because we have had a technical break on the XRP chart. Let me tell you a few more things that are very important. If you are enjoying the show so far and the video so far, please do make sure you hit that like button. Please do make sure you have subscribed as well. Let's talk about the shutdown, the Great Dollar Reset, and a little bit more about XRP's major news stories like the upgrade as well. I'll come on to all of that. Let me just give you one more reminder. We are 60% off on the newsletter. This is something we've never done before and we will never do again. This is to celebrate the launch of 3 major products in addition to the newsletter. Remember, I set out to create the best newsletter in the world. Why? Well, because there were so many fake news sources out there. Even the best news sources out there, they are sponsored, they have corporate agreements, they can't say certain things, they are full of ads, they are biased, they are political, and I didn't like that. However, news is brilliant. the way I started identifying these 1,000% moves in the market and these stocks that were very undervalued and XRP and stuff like this is because I started reading the news. So I would subscribe to every single news source. I would start reading every single news source. Plus, I would be increasing my charting knowledge. And then I became a really profitable trader and investor. So why did I decide to do a newsletter? Well, because I was spending thousands, or close to thousands a month on training on charts and news. So I decided this is ridiculous. There should be a better solution. If no one's going to do it, we'll do it. So we set out about 8 months ago to create the best newsletter in the world in terms of news. And I think we've done that. Every single day, you get the top 5 stories, what matters in the market, the fear and greed index, the number that matters, the winners and losers to keep an eye on, the market snapshot, the 5 main stories. That's all you need. If you keep up to date with the 5 top stories every single day, you will understand a lot more. Then you get the deep dive and a chart of the day. So that's the main newsletter, and you get that as part of the premium subscription. Now we want to sort out the next 3 issues, the next 3 things, which is my playbook on how to find stocks to invest in that have those great returns, and that's the portfolio challenge that's starting this week. So it's the best time to get the newsletter. It's 60% off for the first 5 people every day. That ends on Wednesday. So £5,000 portfolio, we're trying to grow into hopefully millions of dollars. So yeah, you can follow along with the journey. It's not a sort of I'm not telling you when to buy and not to buy. I'm telling you my whole research process. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but I don't want you to follow me. It's not financial advice. You then also get the chart course. Remember, I've spent $1,000 trying to learn charts, and after 5 years, I mastered it. And that's been for the last 4 years. We've been mastering charts, and we've mastered charts. And I want to tell you about all the mistakes I made so you don't have to make those mistakes. It's going to be part of the newsletter, so it's no additional charge for people. And it's going to be a very quick course. So you can do that as part of the newsletter. That's coming out this week as well. Then you also get the debt planner, budget planner, the net worth tracker, see where you are with your finances. So you get a better picture to invest in. So that's all coming this week. You get the one-on-one DM access with me. You get the XRP weekly newsletter. You get the deep dive research. You get the FOMC, CPI, Bank of Japan cheat sheets, exactly what I'm looking at every one of those major events, how I'm trading it, the charts I'm looking at. But right now it's 60% off, and that's about 30 cents a day for all that information. You get a daily newsletter. So go and check it out. It is the first link in the description, and it's also in the live chat if you're watching now. So let's move on with the next part of the video. And what I'm actually going to do is, should we do a part 2 and move on to the next part? Yeah, I think we'll do a part 2. So if you've just watched this video, let's move on to part 2, where we look into all the catalysts for XRP, which we're looking at big upgrades, and that's why I'm still investing in XRP, because anything can happen. We might crash 50%. The chart suggesting 50%, a potential 50% correction, so I'm prepared for a 50% correction. However, there is some real bullish catalysts, such as Brad Garlinghouse saying that we are on track to make all-time highs this year, and that's why I don't want to be out of the market. So let's go on to part 2. I'll leave part 2 up here. I'll leave the newsletter down here. So let's go on to the next video, and let's explore that. But until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, if you're watching live, you're watching me make these videos, that will come out later today. So you get a front row seat and get all the information as well. So what I'm going to do now is go on to the second part of this video, which is over here. So let me go over here and go to the sensei.news. Get that XRP weekly newsletter up. Can I ask everyone to go and vote in the poll? Right now, yesterday we released the XRP weekly newsletter. It's free for everyone, so everyone can go and access it. There is a poll. There's a poll right here. If everyone can go in and vote on this, it's very important. We're trying to collect data on people and sentiment versus what actually happens. So there's a poll in the XRP weekly newsletter. Scroll down a little bit to the poll section. How are you feeling about XRP this week? Bullish or bearish? You've got 8 hours left to respond. So I'm going to give you a direct link to the newsletter. If everyone who's watching live can go and click on that newsletter, scroll down to the poll section and vote on that. That will be absolutely incredible. I'll wait for everyone to do that. There's 58 votes right now. If you're watching, just go and vote on that newsletter from last night. Okay, let's make sure we've just passed 110,000 subs. Take a moment to say thanks to all. 10% of what we did in 4 years in a few months. The growth is insane, on target for 1 million in 2 years. Thank you. Wow. Thank you everyone for that. We have just hit 110,000 subscribers. I remember 10,000 subscribers like it was yesterday. Thank you all for being subscribers and members and supporting our channel. It is absolutely incredible. And all we do is for you guys. You are always in the forefront of our mind. We will never sell ourselves out to corporate sponsors or sell ourselves out to lies. We are the most honest YouTube channel out there, and we appreciate you guys. I only use Trading 212, no XRP there. Yeah, Trading 212 is a stock portfolio knocking star. That's what I'll be using for the portfolio challenge. Okay. Okay, let me... Oh, Martyn's done it. Thank you, Martyn, for that update. Let's go on to part 2 of the video, and then we'll be going over to Martyn in half an hour's time. If you have just tuned in, please do hit that like button as well. Let me see if there's any spots left for the 60% off. I know it's not a very big show today, so I'm sure there is spots left. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the right information. Yes, no, there is definitely spots still available. Okay, I watched Martyn Lucas' show about XRP last night. Thank you, Crypto Genealogy. Let's do part 2 of the video now. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. This is part 2. So if you haven't watched part 1, go and I'll put the link for part 1 in the description and also in the live chat. Part 2, what we're looking at is the bullish side of XRP. Remember, yes, the charts are looking pretty bearish. The trend is to the downside. There is a possible 50% correction, but I'm staying invested and I'm buying on the way down at specific levels. All those levels are within the newsletter. And I shared them with you in part 1 of the video. Now, let me just quickly touch on Japan and the carry trade, and then let's get onto those stories, which are quite incredible. And Brad Garlinghouse specifically coming out and saying that he thinks there will be all-time highs this year for XRP. So all of that is to come in today's show. If you haven't hit the like button, please do. If you haven't subscribed, please also subscribe. If you haven't taken advantage of the 60% offer on the newsletter, check it out in the description. So we've got obviously the main news story of Japan and the crazy situation we've got going on over there. Japan is a real concern that we've been looking at for the last few months. We've been covering it. I don't think the unwind will be great for XRP. Everything will crash in that scenario. We've also got a shutdown that is now an 81% chance that it will happen this month. We've also got silver and gold going off the scale. There's obviously something massive going on behind the scenes, and you need to be prepared for it. So the yen shock that can hit every single market. So first of all, what is the yen carry trade? The yen carry trade was borrow cheap yen in Japan, convert it into dollars or euros, invest it in higher return assets like stocks, crypto, or emerging markets. As long as yen stays cheap and the rates stay low, this works. If yen strengthens or the Japan raises rates, it stops working fast. Is that what's happening now? Well, what has changed? Japan's government warned it may step in to currency markets to stop the yen from falling too quickly. At the same time, Japanese bond yields are jumping sharply, especially on long-dated bonds. That combination matters. A stronger yen raises the cost of repaying borrowed yen. So you don't want a strong yen, but they want to strengthen the yen. Higher bond yields make borrowing less attractive. Together, this is the terrible storm. Two things that shouldn't happen are happening if you care about the carry trade. Together, they force carry trades to unwind. Unwinding means selling risk assets to repay yen loans. They are forced to repay the yen loans at this point, or they're getting very close to, because the yen is getting too expensive and the bond yields are getting too high. Then the New York Fed got involved this weekend. Traders reported that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York contacted major institutions to check where the yen was trading. This is known as a rate check. And historically, rate checks often come just before intervention. So essentially, the market's now looking at this and going, well, okay, there's a massive issue in Japan. Now the Federal Reserve is getting involved, and they're asking all these institutions for rate checks. Last time they did this, they then got involved. So everyone's starting to panic a little bit, and the uncertainty is not great for the market. So it signals the US is watching closely and treating yen moves as a financial stability issue, not just currency noise. Even the hint of US awareness raises the stakes. When traders believe officials may act, leverage gets cut quickly. All of this time for the last 5 months, we had no indication from Japan or from the US that they were concerned about this. Now, over the weekend, we've got confirmation from Japan that they want to act on this, and from the US that this is on their radar, and that's not great. So why markets reacted so fast? Japan is not a small player. Japanese investors have trillions invested overseas. The yen funds hundreds of billions in global trades. Japanese government bonds influence interest rates worldwide. We saw this in 2024 when a sharp yen move triggered sudden sell-offs in stocks and crypto. That was S&P 500 down 7% in a week, the Japanese stock market down 20%, crypto down 30%, and that was just a tiny unwind. So what does this mean for everyday investors? Stocks can drop very fast, so if you're leveraged, be careful. Crypto often sees sharp falls. However, we do get big rebounds, and that's why I have all of these limit orders set up at technical levels. We did it on the 10th of October this year. We have that technical level, and some people don't believe in charts, but we proved that wrong many times. Remember that chart we had on October the 10th when you can go back and watch on the channel. There was a specific level that I had limit order set up. And I didn't know if it was going to be that limit order or the next limit order that would have caught the bounce. But that one did catch the bounce. And even if the other one caught the bounce, we would still be in massive profits. 171 or 164, something caught the bounce and we're back up at 240 within minutes or within hours. So I have my limit order set up at specific levels. If you want to see those levels, go back to part 1 of this video or go to the newsletter. So, but what I'm saying is those drops will be fast, but crypto normally rebounds fast, especially XRP. XRP normally unwinds very quickly and then rebounds very fast. Bond yields can rise outside of Japan. Emerging markets are especially sensitive. So the big risk going forward is what Japan highlighted on last week's Bank of Japan interest rate decision, which we covered live. Inflation is back. Inflation is getting worse. That meant that they are even more hawkish than what we imagined. Rates are no longer stuck at zero. Government spending is rising. The central bank is stepping back from bond buying. So the simple takeaway is Japan was the quiet foundation under global markets. That foundation is now shifting. No panic needed, but it's something to watch closely. Please don't panic. Just understand where your portfolio is and understand what your plan is. Have a plan in place. When the yen strengthens quickly, risk assets usually feel it next. When Japan's bond market gets volatile, global interest rates follow. You can see the 30-year yield is increasing quite heavily, quite fast in Japan. That is causing money to come back to Japan because no one used to invest in Japan, and all those overseas investments in the Japanese bond market. Remember, everyone in Japan, they weren't investing for 0%, so they were investing in other markets and other bonds. That money will be coming out of the US back into Japanese market. Plus, this bond yield in Japan is causing the carry trade itself to unwind. So there is something very concerning happening with the Japan carry trade. Does this mean go out and sell and be and this is a guaranteed crash? Well, I don't think so. I don't think this is a guaranteed crash. I don't think anything in life is guaranteed, really, apart from, as they say, death, taxes, and something else. But it's not guaranteed we're going to have a crash. However, it is very concerning, and it is something you have to be planned for. Why do you need to plan for it? Not only from a risk perspective, but also from an opportunity perspective. Most of the time when I plan for these occasions, I'm not too worried about losing my money because I can make it back. I'm more worried I'm not going to be able to take advantage of these scenarios. And I want to take advantage of this scenario. And the only way I can take advantage of a scenario like this is to understand it's not guaranteed to happen and to also have measures in place to win. And how do I win off this? Well, I have very simple limit order set up at certain levels. I might trade it, I might add to my spot bag, but I'm ready for this scenario. I do have my portfolio hedged for this. I am very heavy in gold and silver, which is probably going to change soon because I can convert that into my XRP. But also, I am looking at other opportunities within the sector. I am looking at other opportunities within AI, energy, modular nuclear reactors. That's all going to be in the portfolio challenge. So do make sure you take advantage of the 60% offer to get all those perks and benefits listed on that page there. One-on-one DM access, the trading course, the portfolio challenge, the daily newsletter, all the XRP newsletters weekly. That will be first link in the description. Part 1 will also be in the description. But what we're going to do now is move over to part 3, which is now when we're actually going to talk about the bullish signals for XRP and the good stories. And that's why I'm still invested, because you never know. This might not occur. There might not be a better opportunity. The risk reward is still great. So what I'm going to do is stay invested, but also be prepared for a crash. And the reasons I'm staying invested is one of them is Brad Garlinghouse is saying this year we're going to have all-time highs. So let's move on to part 3. Part 3 will be right up over here. The newsletter link will be right down over here. So follow me to part 3 of the 3-part series. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, so we didn't have enough time to go through all the bullish stories there. So what we're going to do is now go over to part 3, which talks about some of those stories you might have heard Martyn cover yesterday, but I'll give you my perspective on them as well. Let me go quick to live chat. Let's see who's with us. If you have just tuned in, please do hit that like button as well. Not the best, but been profitable, beating down stocks. Thanks, Liz. Have a lovely day. Great information. Thank you very much, Eric. Can you please explain this? Is crash for XRP only, or perhaps for other cryptocurrencies as well? I don't think this is an isolation for XRP. I would be very, very surprised if XRP in isolation crashes. The only thing that is XRP specific is the weekly candle close, that weekly candle close and the structure for XRP. All other altcoins are already down 90%. XRP is held up pretty well. Now that can change. If we are heading into a major bear market, XRP is now breaking a technical level with the XRP weekly candle close. So XRP can come down a bit more, but this is not specific to XRP. I mean, if Bitcoin's going up and the rest of the market's going up, XRP is not going to crash. XRP is not going to crash by itself. However, the chart is suggesting XRP itself has a technical breakdown. That doesn't mean other charts don't have technical breakdowns, but XRP is the one we're focusing on, and that does have a technical break of 184 level, which is the lowest weekly candle close since November of 2024. So specifically with XRP, yes, we've got a chart breakdown, but it's not going to go down by itself. That's hopefully answers your question. Okay, yeah, let's go on to part 3. Good morning, banana heads. How far are we dropping today? Well, let me know what you think in the comment section. Let's go over to part 3. Breaking news on Martyn Lucas Investor. We are on part 3 out of 3. So 3 out of 3, part 3. What we're looking at? We're looking at some real bullish indicators for XRP. That's why I'm staying invested. Go check out part 1, where we looked at the weekly candle close and a potential 50% correction for XRP. Go check out part 2, where we talked specifically about Japan and the carry trade unwind. But now you're looking at part 3. The reason I'm staying invested, even though there's all of those bearish scenarios, which we've got prepared for in part 1 and part 2, and we explored in part 3, this is the reason I'm staying invested in XRP. Not only is the XRP army the strongest army in the world for crypto, maybe even stock. I mean, the XRP army is very strong. So I always look at sentiment, and that XRP army sentiment is great. I also look at utility. The utility for XRP is up there with the best crypto tokens out there, and it's been around the longest. So I like XRP. I want to stay invested in XRP. I think it's going to $10 in the near future. So I want to stay invested, and there's more reasons I want to stay invested. If we go over to our very own newsletter, here are 3 big stories from this week. Japan shifts crypto regulations. New laws reclassify XRP like stocks, slashing taxes to 20% and unlocking institutional pension investments. You know Japan's the biggest market for XRP in the world, and they're taking one step closer for XRP to just be mainstream in Japan. We've also got XRPL 3.0.0 going live this week. This is a massive upgrade no one's talking about. And then we've also got in Davos, Brad Garlinghouse going head-to-head with Brian Armstrong. Firstly, if you want to look at the chart, go back to part one. I tell you when I'm buying, or go to the newsletter specifically. You can see the weekly chart breaking down what levels are out there. You can go to the newsletter or part one of this video. Please do go vote in the poll. Every week, we have an XRP weekly newsletter, the only XRP newsletter out there every week. Go check it out. First link in the description. You can also get 60%. It's free to everyone, the XRP weekly, but if you want the premium plan, you can get 60% off right now. Go vote in that poll. We are analyzing that data. But let's go over to our first story, XRP and Japan's regulatory pivot, the quiet unlock. So, what's going on with Japan? Not only is the carry trade unwinding, go back to part two of the three-part series, there's actually something bullish at least happening in Japan. We know Japan is a big XRP hub. Japan is preparing one of its most important crypto regulatory shifts globally. The Financial Services Agency plans to reclassify 105 cryptocurrencies, including XRP, under the Financial Instruments and Exchange Act by 2026, moving them out of the malicious income bucket and moving into a same framework as stocks. Look, we're not here as a hype channel. I'm not here to just get you to buy stocks and whatever. That's not what we do. We don't give you financial advice. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because if you looked at any headline within the news, it was all about XRP specifically got this regulation. We're not here to sell stories. I'm here to tell you the truth. It was a plan for 105 cryptocurrencies. This is including XRP, but every headline out there wanted you to click on it and made an XRP specific story. We don't need to do that. It's bullish enough. I don't care if the other cryptocurrencies also got the same green light. It's about the way that XRP has already been implemented. It actually means more than for XRP. So all those other headlines from major news sources, which is why I set out to do this newsletter, because they're all corrupt and they all want you to click and they all want you to, they're all political and not all, allegedly. I don't want to say the wrong thing here. Allegedly, they all are political and or they all have a specific sponsors that don't let them say specific things. We don't sell ourselves out. So let me retract that statement about them being all corrupt. I retract that statement. I didn't mean to say that. So let's continue. That means a tax cut from 55% to 20%. Essentially, it just makes it way more accessible to everyone. Also, to institutions. So proper institutional protections and crucially legal permission for pensions, insurers and asset managers to allocate. That's massive. Without pensions, insurers and asset managers, you're basically removing 80% of where the money, invested money comes from. Now we're including it in Japan. Headlines focus on XRP, but the truth is more interesting. XRPs are being chosen, like every other headline saying. It's already embedded, and that's the story that the other news stories don't seem to grasp. They just want headlines, even though they can make a headline out of something very specific. They just don't understand it. XRP isn't being chosen, like every other headline is saying. Other headlines are saying this is XRP specific. They're wrong. But the fun fact is it's actually already embedded. So the regulation simply formalizes infrastructure that has been live in Japan for years. Where XRP stands apart from its competition is execution. Japan already accounts for 40% of global XRP trading. XRP dominates Japanese yen on-ramps with 21.7 billion in volume, and SBI Remit has been using it in production to move money across major corridors like the $36 billion Philippines remittance market. At the same time, XRP exchanges balances have collapsed 57%. That's how much XRP is available. Yes, there's more XRP available behind the scenes. However, that doesn't matter. No one can access that XRP apart from institutions. What we're looking at here is exchange XRP. The supply for XRP has collapsed 57%. as tokens move into custody and utility. With XRPL now processing 1.8 million in daily transactions, hosting $1 billion plus in tokenized real-world assets, Japan's regulatory shift removes the final compliance barrier for 9.65 trillion banking system that has already been testing its rails. So why does this matter for holders? We've got literally a 35% tax reduction. Everyone would want to invest now because the tax is so much better than it used to be. Institutional unlock, pensions, insurers, asset managers can now legally allocate. We've got supply squeeze because there's not much XRP available on exchanges. Utility flywheel, banks and tokenization are increasing the settlement demand. And the key catalysts are also domain launches enabling institutional access at scale. So this is one of the stories why the hell would I want to be out of XRP? It is the news stories. The fundamentals are great. So I still am projecting an XRP $10 within the next few years, potentially by the end of this year. In fact, a $10 XRP can certainly be achieved by the end of this year. So if we're at $2 now, a 5x return, I'll certainly take it. If we go down to $1, will I be annoyed that I didn't sell all of it and buy down at $1? Maybe, but I don't have a crystal ball. How do I know it's going to $1? So what's the next best thing to do? Well, if I'm happy with $2 to $10, I'm going to keep my XRP. And if I want to buy it at $1 and I don't know if it's going to go to $1, well, I'll leave some money on the side in case we go to $1, and I'll change my XRP or silver. I'll change my gold or silver into XRP and buy lower as well. Next big upgrade, and this is massive as well. XRPL 3.0.0. Institutions are finally here. Major upgrade in the major upgrade in the plumbing of XRP. This allows institutions to really get involved. Just reading, sounds great. Sensei about Japan. Yeah, Japan looks great. I'm just reading some of these comments coming in as we speak. Over the next 10 days, the XRP ledger completes the final transition from crypto to network to institutional financial infrastructure. This is massive. And we'll be covering this as this happens as well. Just to pause for a second, this is part 3 of 3. Go check out the previous 2 parts to get the full story of the Japanese unwind and also the chart signaling potentially 50% correction. But we are launching 3 new products. We're launching the portfolio challenge. We're starting with £5,000 and we're trying to get it up to as much as we can, hopefully in the hundreds of thousands, the millions in the future. And we're releasing the full playbook. Remember, we've had massive wins. XRP at 30 cents, Rocket Lab at $5. Now it's at over $100. Robinhood at under $10. Now it's over $100. Tesla at $10. Now it's at $400. We've had 1,000% moves. 1,000% moves, and now I'm releasing that full playbook and doing it live with you guys. Again, it's not financial advice, but I'm sharing that playbook, sharing the research. I'm telling you how I'm positioning my portfolio as sort of a journal, not a copy trade or anything like that. So that's the first thing. Then it's a training course. I spent thousands learning how to do chart analysis. Some of those courses were absolutely awful. Some of them were all right. Mostly I learned from just doing it and making those mistakes. I don't want you to make those same mistakes. So I'm releasing the chart course as well in the next week or so. And then we've got the net worth tracker, the budget planner, the debt planner, all of that's coming out in the next 3 weeks. So to celebrate the next biggest upgrade in the newsletter, we are doing a one-time only 60% offer. First 5 people every day. That will end on Wednesday. So if you're watching live, check the first link in the description. That all comes with the daily newsletter, the daily charts, the daily deep dives, the FOMC and major event cheat sheets. That also comes with the XRP newsletter and the one-on-one DM access and that access to the community there as well. So go and check it out. It will end very shortly, and it's for the first 5 people every day until Wednesday. So you've got a couple days left, and then that's it. Those are all the perks. I'll put the link in the comments, the first link in the description, and also in the live chat. So let's continue with this big story, which is the XRP 3.0. Over the next 10 days, the XRP ledger completes the final transition from crypto network to institutional financial infrastructure. On January the 27th, XRPL 3.0.0 activates, rolling out 5 mandatory fixes that resolve precision, escrow, Oracle, and AMM issues that only show up on an institutional scale. They're upgrading it, not for the public. Well, it's for everyone, but it's not for an issue with the public domain or what people are using it for. This is an update specifically for institutions. All of these things that are upgrading only apply to institutions. So they are getting ready for a big influx of institutional settlement. Remember, they've just got all their regulatory licenses around the world. Singapore, UK, Dubai, EU, more in the US to come as well. They're waiting for the Clarity Act. And we've got all of that happening behind the scenes. So that's all been approved. Now we've got the final thing, which is let's upgrade the systems ready for this. What are those upgrades? Well, these weren't theoretical bugs. They are the kind banks hit when testing real money. The issues they're solving is for the banks. That's why node operators were given a hard deadline. Upgrade or be kicked off the network. They already voted for it. Now it's their chance to upgrade. You don't force mandatory upgrades unless production deployment is imminent. They have to upgrade because something is happening. And you can see down here, David Schwartz has upgraded his hub to 3.0 last night. He's doing it. Everyone's following suit. They all voted, 80% plus voted for this to happen. So then comes the real unlock. On February the 4th, in a week's time, permissioned domains go live. This is compliance layer institutions have been waiting for. Institutions have been holding back until this comes into place. Why? Well, because it allows banks, asset managers, and regulated firms to operate on the public XRPL while enforcing KYC, know your customer, and anti-money laundering at the protocol level without exposing private data on chain. This was the issue. The issue was they have to enforce KYC and anti-money laundering. That just happens within the banking sector. That's just a regulation that's there. And they have to comply with it. Look, Ripple's not trying to change all the regulation. They're trying to work within what they have. But what they've managed to do now is that was holding off a lot of key banks and people to come onto the XRP ledger. What they've managed to do now is they keep the KYC and AMR, the know your customer and anti-money laundering at the protocol level. But what they're doing with this update, it means it won't expose their private data on chain. Remember, all these institutions, no one wants their data exposed, and obviously that was holding people back. They've managed to sort it out without exposing private data on chain. In simple terms, institutions can now issue, trade, and lend and settle tokenized assets on the XRPL itself, instead of hiding it in private chains or off-ledger systems. You can see down there, David Schwartz has upgraded. Major story there. Why does it matter to XRP holders? Well, compliance barrier is removed. Institutions can finally use XRPL without regulatory workarounds. $1 billion milestone has been crossed, and I expect this to go up to 2, 3, 4 billion this year. XRPL has passed 1 billion in tokenized real-world assets. I think right now they are below the curve. But remember, Ripple always goes compliance first, regulations first, and then they build. They are now in that building phase. So I expect that to go up a lot this year. Supply squeeze confirmed. XRP exchange balances are down 57%. Let's now switch over to Davos, which Brad Garlinghouse had an amazing performance there. I wouldn't call it a performance. He was the CEO we wanted to see. We had Brian Armstrong on one side, which was just going, Bitcoin's amazing, and Bitcoin's the standard. I don't have a problem with Bitcoin. I like what Bitcoin stands for. However, I don't like it when people try and promote it in their self-interest and just throw it out there as if it's the best asset in the world. I don't think it's the best asset in the world. I think gold does the same thing. I mean, the argument for gold was, all the Bitcoiners used to use was, well, how are you going to get gold across the borders? Or gold isn't easy to send around. Well, has anyone heard about digital gold, which is tokenized gold, which means you can split it up like Bitcoin, which means you can send it around the world like Bitcoin, and you can actually redeem it for real gold. So I think that shut down a lot of Bitcoin arguments. Yes, there's also obviously the argument of Bitcoin, it's only 21 million, but then you've got the issue of Satoshi having so many Bitcoin coins. So I wouldn't say Bitcoin's the best asset in the world. I would much rather invest in utility like XRP and also a hard asset like gold. I don't think Bitcoin's the worst asset in the world as well, and I think it will continue to outperform most assets in the world as well. But what Brad Garlinghouse did at this event, he showed his professionalism, he showed why he cares about all of these people arguing, and what he's doing, he's building the roads. He's got the settlement infrastructure. Everyone can argue while Brad Garlinghouse and XRP holders benefit. So what happened? At Davos this week, the fight over digital money finally moved into the open. Central bankers warned that private crypto threatens democratic control of your money, while crypto leaders argued decentralized systems are a necessary check on inflation and deficit spending. While Coinbase's CEO Brian Armstrong and France's central bank chief clashed over Bitcoin and stablecoins, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse avoided the ideology entirely. He let them fight because his focus was on infrastructure. Institutions are already tokenizing assets, settling on chain, and cutting costs, and they're doing it now, not as a future experiment. That positioning matters for XRP. Ripple isn't trying to replace sovereign money or push a Bitcoin-style standard like Brian Armstrong was. It's building settlement rails that work, whether asset is tokenized bond, a regulated stablecoin, or a CBDC. In 2025, tokenized assets on the XRP ledger grew more than 2,000%. Davos didn't change direction, confirmed it. The debate has shifted whether digital money exists to control who controls the plumbing. What this means for XRP holders is XRP is positioned as settlement infrastructure, not a political bet. Institutional tokenization on XRPL is already live and scaling. Regulatory pressure is now about design and control, not banning crypto. Short-term price swings don't change the long-term infrastructure build. I loved how we could just see when we watched the event live on this show. So make sure you're subscribed. We watch all of these live. You can see Brad Garlinghouse. He was relaxed, sat back, making connections, answering questions, great. And then he had Brian Armstrong. He was sat forward, trying to get his Bitcoin got you moment out there to the Federal Reserve Banker. Brad Garlinghouse doesn't care. He wants to work with anyone. He wants to make money, or he wants his company to make money. And he's always said XRP is the heart of the company. This is a major quote from CEO Brad Garlinghouse as well. This wasn't a live interview, but we've managed to keep an eye on this as well. And this has made me excited. And another reason I'm staying invested. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse told CNBC he is very bullish on 2026, and he predicts, and he went on the record saying this, that the crypto market will see a new all-time high this year. Very exciting. That's why I don't want to be out of the market. Yes, I'm aware of the risk. Yes, I'm aware of how to trade and make money. Yes, I know what levels I'm buying, but I want to stay invested because $2 to $10 is still a great return. If I can buy it lower and I'm prepared for the risk, then I will do so as well. So go and check out part 1 and 2. I'll end this video off here. Remember, there is all those concerns. We've got silver at all-time highs, gold at all-time highs. Obviously, something's brewing behind the scenes. We've got government shutdown looking very likely to happen. We've got Japanese bonds picking up and the New York Fed getting involved in Japanese rates. Go check out part 2 for that story. So a lot of volatility to come, but I am still bullish, long-term bullish, still adding to my portfolio, and I'm excited for all the new services on the newsletter and to welcome you all there. So take advantage of the 60% offer. It's the first link in the description. I'll put over here part 1, maybe part 1 over here, part 2 over here, newsletter down here. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay, we've got a few minutes to go through some of your comments, and then we'll be going over to Martyn. Let me just check these messages coming through from the team. Yeah, we've got a major story later on today, which is about Bitcoin and seizures and what that means for the market. So I'm excited to bring that to you. That will be coming out as a newsletter later today, and that will be explored on Martyn's show. So if you've just tuned into today's show and you don't know what we talked about everything. Carry trade, bullish side of XRP, the weekly candle close. Go back about an hour and or 55 minutes and watch the show again, or keep an eye out for the videos that will come out later. If you want all those perks. Let me just read some of these comments. Bought the dip at 63k, easy money. There we go, Rob Brennan. He understands how to make some easy money. Member for over a year now. High energy investments. XRP's been quiet for too long. Something's brewing. Something is definitely brewing. Have you seen the amount of XRP leaving exchanges? The saying meeting at Mar-Logo will be like November 1910, a secret gathering of powerful bankers. Interesting. We'll keep an eye out on that. I've heard about this. Sounds great about Japan, says Fumi Liz. Yes, there's a good story of Japan, a bad story of Japan. We've been covering it all. Beautiful and warmer Liz. Okay, yeah, we're about to wrap up the show because Martyn is going to go live any second now. He's just put the link there. So Martyn is live, I assume, as we speak. Final call. I just want to firstly thank all the new members that have joined the newsletter. All the people that have joined Discord and Electrum for Martyn's trades and stage events, which are great as well. The links for that are below. But for the newsletter, there's only 2 days left. It's 60% off. We're not going to be doing this again. This is to celebrate the launch of 3 products, which is the trading course, the portfolio challenge, and the debt planner and the budget planner. I've been spending literally the last 2 months working on all 3 of those products, plus all the benefits of the newsletter itself, the one-on-one DM access. So there's 5 people every day. I'll give you the link in the live chat. There is still space available for today. So there you go. Go and sign up to that. I think we've got Martyn in the room. So let me bring Martyn straight onto the show. Martyn, welcome to the morning. Oh, no, let me try that again. Martyn, welcome to the morning forecast show.
Good morning, Sensei. It's great to be with you again. Another great show, breakfast show, newsletters, phenomenal. For folks, I can't impress on this enough. I use the newsletter myself in all my shows. As you know, it's for the show notes for me, but it's also one of the guides I use. I do my own analysis, of course, as you should all do, but I use the newsletter as my main source of information. It's not just information grabbed from ChatGPT or copied and pasted. It's our own research. It's why, Sensei, we're very proud to say you are number 9 on the bestseller of Substack. Congratulations to you. Up there with Michael Burry and all the best in the world. So, yeah, absolutely, mate. You deserve it. You work very hard on it. It's great value. Everyone should get that 60% discount. The reason for calling in this morning is I am going live in a couple of moments. I am all in 100% in SGov, every single penny, $300,000 and $308,000 in SGov this morning. And I know that might confuse people because we're seeing XRP pump up this morning. And that's great. It's great, no problem at all. I'm waiting for something much bigger though. But the main reason for calling in is in 2.5 hours' time. We have a special, a very exclusive event, 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, right after my opening bell show. We have a star guest on my show, and we've uncovered a story that might scare you concerning Bitcoin as the US government seized $60 billion of Bitcoin. Well, we're going to discuss that this morning. We've with Sensei's help, we've compiled over the weekend the data, the news. We've checked the sources. We've got some very sensitive information. We've had to go through everything with fine detail, not to expose our sources and give up information. But we're going to share with you today an exclusive event you cannot afford to miss. That comes up right after my opening bell show. I'm going to hand you back to Sensei. Sensei can wrap up another minute or so, and then I'll start the opening bell. We're going to focus on FOMC week as you prepare for FOMC week. What a week, Sensei. Have you ever remembered a week like this when we've got so much on the line, carry trade literally unwinding, $20 trillion wrapped up in that trade. We've got all this upgrades in crypto, including our favorite coin, of course, XRP, government shutdown. We've got war breaking out all over the place, potentially more unrest in Iran. We've got this issue over this seizing of Bitcoin, 60 billion, and the FOMC report all at the same time. Do you ever remember a time when we had so much at the same time?
It's crazy. I mean, even like the last week as well. But yeah, this week seems even. I thought it couldn't get worse than last week, and now we've got all of it actually happening now. All of the things you've been saying, Japan carry trade. I mean, everyone's talking about it now. They weren't talking about it when it mattered, and now it looks like it's exactly as you predicted. So yeah, I mean, it's happening now.
Yeah. It's happening like, yes, it is. Some people say I can't see it, but it is actually happening, as I've explained last night on the live show. And anyway, Sensei, carry on for a couple of minutes. I'll see everybody over on the opening bell show in a couple of minutes. No rush, Sensei. Just finish off nicely, and then we've got the big story. 10 a.m. this morning, Central Time, 11 a.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss that. It's already scheduled. The event's there. You can go there. I also want to take this moment to thank record numbers of members and Discordians and at the 110,000 subscribers. I can't emphasize what that means enough. We are now on target for the 500,000 this year, the 1 million next year, and the 1 billion in 13 years. What does it mean? In just four and a half months, I think it is, we did 10% of what we did in 4 years. Think about that. That's the growth. It's absolutely incredible. And I want to thank you all for your support, your trust and support. I mean, Sensei, take it seriously. We try our best to provide the best information, the most honest information. And we're always learning. We make mistakes. Not on my trade so much, but everything else. We make mistakes. And we're always listening and learning. But of course, as we get bigger and bigger, this community gets bigger and bigger. And it gets harder to hear individuals. But we do listen to individuals, every single one of you. Everyone has a voice. No one gets left behind. Every comment gets replied to and read by me personally with a voicemail. And we'll always be a one-on-one service where we talk down the lens at individuals, no matter when we reach 1 billion. Sensei, thank you ever so much indeed. Love to your dear wife. Not long now before your dear baby is born. I'll hand you back to all the Lucasades and Discordians. I'll see you live in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martyn. Let's get back to the morning forecast. Always lovely to have Martyn call it into the morning shows and share all those thoughts and ideas. We just, major story coming up in a few hours about the Bitcoin, about some Bitcoin that no one's really looking at that could be seized and what that means for the market. So I'm going to wrap up the show now. Martyn is going to go live with his countdown any second now. So I'll send everyone over to that. Let me just give you my final thoughts. We might all differ in trading strategies. Do what's right for you, understand the news, then make your own decision. The way I'm playing it is I'm bullish on XRP long term, so I buy at specific levels. We are now up 4% on XRP since our buy at 182 last night. All those levels are given to you in the newsletter. There can be a 50% correction. It's not certainly not impossible, and it's certainly not very unlikely. It is a real scenario that can play out. And what will I do in those scenarios? Well, I will buy at specific levels. All of those are in the newsletter, and we explored it early on in this video. Gold and silver are exploding like never seen before. I mean, yes, we predicted $100 silver very early on in 2026, and that's happened. But it's crazy to see it unfold. It was only $30 less than 200 days ago, and gold we were buying at $1,500. When you see gold and silver go up that much, there is something very concerning happening behind the scenes. And that's what you need to be prepared for. This is going to be a very volatile time. We've got the FOMC on Wednesday. There will be a cheat sheet on it in the newsletter. You've got the Japanese carry trade actually unwinding before our eyes. And there is a real risk to the market. So be prepared for it. Be careful when you're leverage trading. Be careful with your portfolio. Don't go too high risk. You can end up retiring with a very simple portfolio of the S&P 500 and just buying every time it dips, or DCAing, and you'll probably be very happy. But if you want to understand it a bit more, then be very careful and don't make the mistakes most people do based off emotional trading. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for the 110,000 subscribers. What a great milestone we've just hit today. We'll be going over to Martyn's show, and Martyn will be then going over to the Bitcoin show as well, which is about the seizure of all the Bitcoin. Sensei, do you still have your gold card off, Martyn? Yes, I do still have the gold card. Maybe I'll have to sell it soon. We'll see. We'll see if gold and silver are still up and there's major opportunity in the market. I don't mind selling my gold and silver. But yes, I do still have Martyn's gold card. I remember. Who else remembers when I bought that live on the show? Guys, there is still lots of spots available for today's. I think we sold out every single day last week, but there is still spots available for today's 60% off offer. This is the biggest offer ever, and we're not running it again. So if you haven't got the newsletter, go and check it out. Their link is right here in the live chat. Let me answer a few more questions. See you all on Martyn's show. Yes, yeah, real issue in Iran. And that could escalate very quickly as well. So we have to be mindful of that going on as well. What else? Yes, that's a huge Bitcoin seizure. Yeah, that will be a massive seizure if it does go through. I mean, we're going to tell you all about it later today. I'm going to be working on it, and it will come out as a newsletter in the next couple hours. Good morning. Good morning. Can you explain XRP only? No, I already explained that question. Okay. Why is XRP pumping? Well, because of technical levels. We hit a level, we're bouncing off it. Nothing goes down in a straight line. We have bounces like this, and this is a small. I mean, sometimes we get liquidation wicks, and then you bounce 50%. This isn't one of those times, but we are seeing a bounce because the people got too bearish and started shorting it. So now you get the shorts getting liquidated. Remember, the market punishes both sides, the longs and the shorts. The real winners are the long-term investors, in my opinion. Do you think the Fed will increase the rate? No, I think it's going to be a hold. I am 99% certain we will hold rates. I'll wait silver to go down a bit more and I'll buy, says Human Ling. No chance here. I love it, Human Liz. Okay, guys, let's go over to Martyn. Thank you. We're live every single morning, 2 hours before the opening bell. Keep an eye out for those videos that will come out later as well. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Stay where you are. The link for Martyn's show is pinned above. You'll go directly there if you stay where you are for a minute, or if you want to jump ahead, click the link in the pinned link. This is a great time for you to take a second to sign up to the newsletter as well. Bye-bye.